Hey everyone, it's me, Tiffany of the blog itsmeladyg.com. If you are not subscribed already, please make sure to subscribe, or you can wait and see if you like the video and then you can subscribe later. This video I'm going to do really quickly before I go into the grocery store, but I wanted to say or share how I think that I've been a lot more successful this time around when it comes to breastfeeding with my second child compared to my first child. Okay, so my first child, I was a complete fail. Like, I'm not a fail, but about 2 months in, 2-3 months in, I just broke down and I couldn't breastfeed anymore because of some factors which I'm going to share with you, and that I ended up having to formula feed, which is fine. He's completely fine, obviously. But this time around, I was really determined to make it work. And it's going to be 9 months in a couple of days that I've been breastfeeding, and so far so good. But I think it's been a couple of things that I've done this time and been very mindful about that I didn't do last time. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys here. First thing that I think I did that made a difference was I've been very mindful about stress. Anything that caused me any sort of stress, other than you're already dealing with a bunch of stress because you, number one, had a baby. Number two, you're not sleeping correctly. Number three, hopefully you have support around you to try and eat. Simple things to eat, take a shower, stuff like that. But stress, anything stressful on top of that, I've been very mindful to kind of regulate how it will affect my life, or even if I will, even simple things. If I'm gonna go to certain places that, you know, may induce stress, I might not go, or deal with different work situations. I just try to be very selective with things that may be stressful for me, because that stress, I think stress is the number one thing that made me tank the whole attempt the first time around. Stress, it was a ridiculous amount of stress. But this time, I've been very mindful about it. So try to be mindful of your stress. I know that it's like, that's like a asinine thing to say, but it's really hard, especially as a new mom, because there's so much stuff going around. But try to handle your stress as much as you can. Try to get sleep, especially when the baby's sleeping. Okay, that's one. Another thing that I didn't do the first time around that I should have done this time. Nope, the other way around. That I did this time that I should have done the first time around. Try to sleep when you can, because that helps with stress. But that wasn't even part of my things that I was gonna say. Next thing I did this time that I didn't do last time was I stopped looking at the watch. Like, I stopped looking at that whole, you know, when you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, is it every 2 to 3 hours that you're feeding the baby? Because, you know, that's how often they get fed or they want to eat. I stopped looking at that altogether. I just fed the baby, which goes to number 3. Fed the baby when the baby needed to be fed. Okay, I didn't say, oh, you know, it's sooner than 3 hours. Oh my God, it's you know, like, this shouldn't be like that. I just fed the baby when the baby had feeding cues. The whole other thing that I'm aware of this time that I wasn't aware of last time. The different types of feeding cues that the baby shows you. Fed the baby when the baby was fussy, put the boob in the mouth. Okay, just fed her when she needed to be fed, and I stopped looking at the watch. And that was like number 2 and number 3. So those two things I think really helped, because they made me stop stressing so much. Like, oh my God, when did I start feeding the baby? Oh, and then write it down, all that stuff. Don't worry about all that. Just feed the baby when the baby needs to be fed. If the baby starts like fussing, turning towards your boob, or starts moving this hand by its mouth, all those things, those are feeding cues, okay? Another thing I did, I stopped worrying about like, how much is the baby being fed? Is it 2 to 3 ounces, this and that and the other? Because with my son, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't see how much he's eating, you know, and so, which my son was my first baby. Well, I can't see how much he's eating, and so I don't know if it's enough. Basically, if you just feed the baby when the baby has feeding cues, the baby will spit the boob out when they are finished. So that may seem, especially in the beginning, it seems like you're nursing all the time, but that's part of it. And I think that is, not I think, but I know that feeding in that way is going to help build up your supply. There are 2 books that I think have been so instrumental this time around that I don't even know if they were around. Yeah, well, one of them was around, but at least I just didn't read them. The first one is a book called The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. That's from the La Leche League. I'll leave it in the description box below and you can go and check that out. The second book was a book called The Wonder Weeks. that book is really awesome. I partnered with them on my Instagram. If you aren't following me over there, you should partner with them to give away a set of books. But that book and the app were really, really, really great because they let me know it's like all about cognitive development with the baby and how those correlate to how the baby may be fussy at a certain time. So that's why, like, in the first couple of weeks, the baby, you're like, oh my god, I don't know if the baby is eating enough because they just want to feed all the time and I can't get anything done. It's because the baby's having like a cognitive development. It's having a milestone and is growing, which requires the baby to eat more. But you can go and check that out in the description box below as well. The Wonder Weeks and The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. Those two books were life-changing for me. The last thing that I would say is that you need to just latch or pump, preferably latch if you can, and even if it's just like putting the boob near the baby's mouth, okay? And eventually, I don't know, somehow I looked at some YouTube video and one of the many different latches just worked one day, and sometimes this is not what I was supposed to say. What I was saying is just latch as often as you can, okay? If you can, just latch as often as you can, because it seems to be that skin on skin with the baby, even if they always say skin on skin too is like when the baby's on you're on you, but just the whole thing of having the boob near the mouth of the baby, that's been life-changing as well, okay? Because that has helped with the increase of supply. So I know that some women, especially if they are going back to work, and when I have to go to work I have to pump, but as soon as I get home I make sure that I latch the baby because that has really, really helped, okay? But I think those are all the tips that I was thinking. But I hope that this so far is helpful. I just wanted to make this really quickly and I didn't want it to go on for too long. But if you did like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up because that does help, and make sure to hit that subscribe button because that does help as well. And if you aren't following me on Instagram, please make sure to do that. The link will be in the description box below, and you can check out my blog post if I do have a blog post for this. But you can check out my blog, period, at itsmeladyg.com, and I'll put that in the description box below as well. Okay? Hope you're having a good day. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.